Some people walk into a room and it's like they have subtitles under everyone's head. They see the stressed one, the fake smiling one, the bored one pretending to listen, and others walk in blind, picking up nothing, like their glasses are fogged from the inside. Today, I want to show you how to see those subtitles, not by becoming manipulative, not by becoming psychic, but by learning the language every human speaks without realizing it. And if you've ever felt like you misread people, or you trust too fast, or you don't notice warning signs until it's too late, this is going to feel like someone finally handed you the manual, because everyone leaks information. Everyone, even the confident ones, especially the confident ones. When you learn to read people, life becomes 10 times easier. Conversations become smoother, relationships become healthier, and you start making decisions that are aligned with reality instead of assumptions. And trust me, I've been on both sides. I used to be the guy walking into rooms completely clueless. Someone could be annoyed or bored or literally screaming internally, and I'd be like, yes, normal human vibes. But then I started studying people. Not in a creepy detective way, more like curious, observant, awake. And once I learned the patterns, it honestly felt illegal. Not in a criminal way, in a why didn't anyone teach me this in school way. Now, let me take you with me. There's something fascinating about humans. We all think we're hiding our feelings, but our body is terrible at lying. Our face is terrible at lying. Our tone of voice is terrible at lying. And our behavior, that one, straight up refuses to lie. Think of a person like a stick figure drawing. Simple, clear, easy to interpret. That's all you need. Not a complex psychological analysis, just a few signals that repeat everywhere across the planet. And the first sign is this. People show how they feel before they say how they feel. Always. I remember learning about Michael Jordan. Everyone saw his greatness, but most people didn't see the emotional radar he had. He didn't just read the game, he read the players. He could tell who was scared, who was confident, who was mentally collapsing even before the person knew it themselves. His ability to read people made him dangerous because he didn't just play against bodies, he played against minds. Now imagine applying just a small percentage of that ability in your daily life. You'd immediately avoid the wrong people. You'd trust the right ones. You'd feel grounded, confident, stable. You'd walk into a room and see those subtitles. There's a simple way to start training this skill, and it doesn't require staring at people like you're trying to see into their soul. It's just noticing energy shifts. Humans don't stay neutral. We spike up or we drop down. We relax or we tighten. We open or we close. And these shifts happen in seconds. When someone's body opens, they angle towards you. Their shoulders relax, their eyes soften, they like you or feel safe with you. When someone closes, shoulders tighten, arms cross, voice becomes shorter, something inside them is saying protect. And listen, some people cross their arms because they're cold, yes, but 90% of the time, closed body means closed mind. You don't need to confront them, you don't need to overthink it, you just take note, subtitles, not fully comfortable right now. And this is where people usually mess up. They think reading people is about accuracy. It's not. It's about noticing patterns. If someone acts cold once, maybe it's nothing. If they act cold 15 times, congratulations, that's a pattern. Patterns don't lie, people do. There's something comforting about this skill. It doesn't make you judgmental, it makes you compassionate. When you actually understand people, you see insecurity where you used to see arrogance. You see fear where you used to see anger. You see stress where you used to see rudeness, and you respond differently, more aligned, more aware, more grounded. It's funny because when you learn to read people, you become calmer. The unknown becomes known. The confusing becomes predictable. The complicated becomes simple. That's why I always talk about in the Wise Joe ebooks about mental stillness. When your mind is still, you see people clearly. When your mind is noisy, you see them through your fears, not their truth. Stillness sharpens perception. Let me tell you something. Most people never realize. People reveal themselves in the first 30 seconds, even when they're trying not to. You just have to watch the right things. Look at someone's eyes, not in a dramatic staring contest way, just casually. Eyes tell two stories, where their attention goes and where their emotions sit. When someone likes you or feels comfortable, their eyes land on you softly, not heavy, not intense, soft. When someone is hiding something, their eyes dance, not romantically, more like their brain is trying to find the exit. Again, it's not guesswork, it's patterns. Now, let's talk about something powerful, micro pauses.
Is one of the most honest signals humans have. When someone pauses a little too long after hearing something uncomfortable, their brain is screaming a truth they don't want to say. Example, you ask someone, "Hey, are you all right?" If they're genuinely fine, the answer comes instantly. If they're not, you'll hear a tiny pause, the brain scrambling for a socially acceptable lie. Or imagine asking someone if they're angry. If they're not, they laugh, may be confused. If they are, but don't want to admit it, their answer will come delayed. That pause is the leak, the subtitle that says, "I'm not telling you everything." I'm not saying you should call them out. You don't need to. Just notice. Take the information, adjust your expectations. Life becomes peaceful when you stop demanding honesty from people who aren't ready to give it. Here's another trick. Watch how fast someone switches emotions. People who switch emotions too quickly usually aren't expressing real emotion. They're performing, trying to control how you see them. People who shift slowly usually feel what they feel. It's the difference between warm water boiling naturally and someone turning the stove on full blast. Fast shifts often hide something. Slow shifts reveal something. Again, subtitles. And there's the spoken language beneath words, tone. We think we communicate through sentences, but tone carries the truth. A soft yes means trust. A sharp yes means defensiveness. A flat yes means withdrawal. When someone gives you very short answers, they're either uncomfortable or tired. When someone responds with too many words, they're usually nervous or over-explaining to hide something. People don't say what they mean, they say what they are able to say, but their tone says the rest. Let's talk about motives. This is the advanced part. Most people act based on one of three emotions: fear, desire, or ego. If you can identify which one is driving a person, you will understand them almost instantly. A fearful person seeks safety, even if they pretend they're confident. A desirous person leans forward. They want something: attention, approval, closeness, power. An ego-driven person wants position. They want to be seen as important, right, or superior. They don't always know this, but their behavior tells you. Fear makes people avoid. Desire makes people chase. Ego makes people perform. When you see this clearly, social situations feel like reading a comic strip. Fear character, desire character, ego character. Different faces, same patterns. The more I studied people, the more peaceful I became. Not because I became smarter, but because I stopped taking things personally. Someone being rude, usually stress. Someone being cold, usually fear. Someone acting extra confident, usually insecurity dressed in a fancy jacket. You stop reacting, you start understanding. It's like turning on the subtitles on a confusing movie. Suddenly, everything makes sense. Now, here's the part you'll love. Reading people isn't about watching them. It's about watching how they change around you. People reveal the most when they switch environments. A quiet person becomes loud around someone they trust. A confident person becomes small around someone they fear. An ego-driven person becomes humble around someone they respect. You learn the truth in transitions, not in still moments. If you really want to understand someone, observe how they shift when the topic changes, when the mood changes, when the pressure changes, when the audience changes. Humans reveal more in motion than in stillness. I want you to think about someone in your life right now, someone you're not sure how to read. Think of one word that describes what confuses you about them. Maybe distance, maybe mood, maybe energy. Hold that word in your mind for a second. When you watch people with curiosity instead of fear, the confusion melts.
You begin to understand them as they are, not as you hoped they would be. And sometimes that clarity is all you need. If a single word popped into your head, you already know who this message was meant for. Now, let's go deeper. Humans have emotional tails, just like poker players. Every person has one or two signals they can never hide. Some people blink faster when they lie. Some wrinkle their forehead when they're nervous. Some swallow hard when they disagree but don't want to say it. Some shift their weight when they're insecure. And some scratch their neck when they feel guilty. These are not secrets. These are universal biological reactions. The trick isn't memorizing them. The trick is noticing them. You don't need a psychology degree. You need presence. If your mind is racing, you'll miss everything. If your mind is still, you'll see everything. This is why so many powerful people meditate. It's not spiritual decoration, it's psychological clarity. Even Steve Jobs used stillness to read rooms. He could tell instantly if someone on his team was hesitant or confident, and his decisions came from
Watching humans, not just products. The world belongs to the observant. There's something beautiful about understanding people. It doesn't make you cold, makes you warm because you stop assuming the worst. You see the human inside the behavior. Someone's mood is often a message. Someone's silence is often a story. Someone's attitude is often a shield. The moment you understand this, you become harder to manipulate, harder to confuse, and easier to trust. People feel safe with someone who sees them without judging them. But let me be brutally honest, reading people also helps you protect yourself. You stop giving energy to people who don't value it. You stop chasing people who aren't emotionally available. You stop falling for fake confidence. You stop letting guilt control you. You stop trying to heal people who don't want to be healed. You become calm, selective, grounded. This is what illegal feels like. Not power over others, power over your own decisions. And the more you practice, the sharper you get. You start hearing what people don't say. You start noticing when someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes. You start catching when someone's compliment feels rehearsed. You start feeling discomfort shift the room like a temperature drop. You become the person with subtitles under everyone's head, not magically, not instantly, but gradually, consistently, naturally. It becomes second nature. So let me leave you with this. People are easy to read when you stop focusing on who they pretend to be and start watching who they are when they're unguarded. A tiny change in posture, a small shift in tone, a pause that arrives 1 second too late. These are not accidents, they're messages. And you, from this moment on, will start seeing them. If one word comes to your mind right now about a person you finally understand, keep it. That word is your subtitle, your clarity, your starting point. Welcome to the world behind the world, where humans read like simple drawings, where understanding becomes effortless, and where life finally makes sense. Because once you can read people, everything changes.